Hey everybody, it's Sharon Sheldon here with Sarah Arrow from Content Sparks and Team Content Sparks. And it is Friday, so I hope you've had a wonderful week, a very productive week, and you're staying healthy and safe. And we are going to be diving in today on our new course called How to Teach an Online Course. So this one I'm really excited about because we spent a lot of effort on it. A lot of people were actually involved in the development of this from customers. So we had customers all giving input. Sarah had input. My team had input. Our other instructional designers, I was involved in it. So there's a lot of brain work that's gone into it because originally we thought, oh, we've got here and there some stuff already, but we really needed a whole course, and we ended up doing most of it new. So some ideas overlap, but it's really a new course. And it's a great companion course to our other content on how to create an online course and how to launch and market your online course. So now we have a full suite of materials, and online courses, online teaching is so popular, but also necessary today. So there are some people who have kind of been forced into it. They don't have a choice. It's the only way they can reach their clients or their students. And there are others who have always wanted, before the whole pandemic and staying at home and whatnot, online courses and e-learning just had taken off the last few years. So this is nothing new, but as course creators, you guys are going to be positioned perfectly to really help everyone who needs to keep learning and doing and can't do one-on-one or face-to-face, or needs to add an extra stream of income as well, something that's more passive, that's virtual, and that gives some sort of a safety net too. So that's all I'm going to say right now about that. We will be going into the course. I said I'd do a sneak peek and a walkthrough, but I also wanted to share a little bit first about teaching online and some of our experiences. Sarah's had a ton of experience with that. I've had experience and very painful moments I've gone through too. And also, before I go any further, first, I will just put the URL up there so that you know it's there for the new course. But I see we have a few people live already on here, and I'd love for you to just put your name in, where you're from, and also what's your favorite tool or platform for teaching online courses. So Ari's here. Hi, Ari. How you doing? Janet Walker's here. Janet, happy Friday to you too. And please, put in where you're from. And again, what your favorite tool is, because I want to keep that and maybe gather those together to share with everyone. And Michelle, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, Michelle. If you tell me, that would be really helpful, because I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to be looking out for those comments and stuff. You can see them as well and comment. Mm-hmm. So let's see, what shall we start on? Janet from Toronto. Yes, still deciding on a tool. Don't worry, we're going to have lots of ideas. So first, though, what should we start with? I didn't do a very good job doing an agenda this time. Sarah?
Let me just say, as a customer now, customer hat on rather than Team Sparks hat, this is a really, really, really well put together program. And if Sharon hadn't have said so many chefs were helping making this, you would never have known, because it is absolutely smooth and seamless and of the quality that you expect from Content Sparks every single month when the new product comes out. And it's absolutely phenomenal. I've unwrapped it and spent all night getting excited and thinking, do I do this or do I do podcast? Which one do I do? And then I was over on Deposit Photos and I typed in online teaching, and I've got up a slew of gorgeous images, and I'm thinking I can scrub out lesson and add in module, and it was just really speaking to me. And I hope if you take a look at it, it will really speak to you, because teaching courses, I first started doing the teaching side of things back in 1997. And I'm going to tell you, I thought going from teaching in a classroom where I used to teach people how to put together CVs, going from teaching in a classroom to teaching online, big difference, world of difference. And, you know, there's a lag and you don't always realize there's a lag. So you have to pause and allow people time to catch up. And teaching online isn't as responsive as teaching in a classroom, where you can say something and get an immediate response, a laugh or a, you know, a giggle and a whisper or whatever, so you can read the room. Teaching online is a different skill set, and being able to teach that, and you can easily do that from this program, is a magical thing. I think you're going to change a lot of lives if you teach this.
Yeah, and I think, and what's interesting that we did on this course, because so many online courses are a mix of video and live, which they should be, and we can talk about why. We covered both, you know, how you need to structure and go through and use presentation skills in a recorded course video, and then live, doing the interaction, planning for the interaction and engagement as well. So we're currently basically teaching live via a live stream. This is not what you would do with a paid course. This is more for the world, but we're still trying to get interaction. We have that delay. We're looking at comments using StreamYard, seeing where people are from. So you have to learn to balance between looking at comments, reacting to comments, but also sharing your content. And that's something you can only do well when you get comfortable. But when I first started, the first one I didn't do live initially because I was just terrified of doing anything live. I did my first one was a little video, like a 2-minute video on camera, or I don't even think I started with any on camera. I went for slideshow, and I was so nervous. I just used a script. I had everything scripted out, and you could really tell that I scripted everything out on that video.
And so, now just rock up, no agenda, no cares.
Well, that I don't recommend either. And actually in the course, we have an example of a live agenda as a template that you can follow when you do a live class, because you should always have notes and outline, because you need to stick to that. Leave room for flexibility for people to ask questions and answer those, but also have that plan. Otherwise, it messes up your structure of your whole course, and you won't necessarily meet the learning objectives that you've set for that. So it's a little bit of a mix, and you have to keep track of time. So for example, we've got Catherine is from the UK is here. What did you say, Catherine? I had a problem with the comments, so hopefully you can see this now. Yes, we can see it, because now everyone can see it. It's on the screen. All right. And we've got, we do have a question about tool. Ari asked about things, tools, Camtasia. I'll talk about some tools stuff in a second. Ari, you also said you haven't launched your first course yet. Don't worry about that. One of the things I think is really important with this one that we're going to talk about, how to teach an online course, is that you can learn from it yourself. So if you haven't launched a course yet or taught it online at all, I suggest looking at this course and learning from it, but obviously getting one of our others. Hopefully you already have one of our other ones on a topic that you know. So you'd use this to learn how to teach it, how to record your videos and stuff. And then you're going to have all that experience to share about teaching online, because you'll already be way ahead of so many others who want to create courses and have zero experience with any kind of online teaching, whether it's video or live as well. Okay, so don't worry about that. So I was saying also, when I first started teaching online, I did video, screen share, just slideshow, practice doing that and learning to speak more naturally. So that was just a practice thing. The first on camera was the most painful thing I've ever done. You wouldn't think it now, because I'm looking at the camera, I'm more natural speaking. But that first time I did something and just did it recorded, I must have spent all day doing it over and over and over. I'd say one sentence and then forget what I was going to say next. So I would do my one sentence, look down and read my notes, do my next sentence, didn't like the way any of it looked, start over again, go back, realize I didn't have any sound on it, did it a billion times with no sound. Then I found that the reason I didn't have sound was I had my speakers muted.
Yeah, I've done that one a few times.
So I really did have the sound. Yeah.
Or I've not had the microphone plugged in, and I gave the most amazing, I'm like so stoked. And then afterwards, Kevin's like, what on earth are you on? There's echoes, there's whistles. And I'm like, no. So, Ari, when you say, do you find a tool like Camtasia to be necessary? Not if you're perfect, okay? You don't need it if you're perfect and you've got an absolutely brilliant microphone and you've got no distractions and you've got no mistakes and you can just deliver it perfectly off of one go, then you don't need Camtasia or anything.
But
one mistake, one tiny one, and there are lots of people. I've done courses by very big named ones, and they're full of things like and ands, and there's lots of verbal tics, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, please, 5 minutes on Camtasia will get rid of all of this. What's wrong with you? And it really distracts from the learning experience.
But when you're doing it live, obviously that's going to be the case. You're going to have imperfections and stuff, and then it's a matter of practicing. And if you do the same thing over several times, every time you do it live, you get better and better. So you can't expect the first one to be great, but if you have a good outline, it's fine. And people expect that on a live training, on the recorded even.
They forgive you when it's live for any ums and pauses and things like that. But when they've paid good money for a really good course like the Teach Online course, then they expect a professional experience. Now, I'm not saying it should be absolutely 100% perfect. I've been doing this for 8 years, and I can tell you now, no single one of mine is absolutely perfect. One course I put up, and I kept on referring to buttons underneath the program to download your worksheets and download your books. I didn't even put them there. So, you live and learn. Yes, that was one Friday night when everybody was in bed in the house and I was going and adding the buttons and writing apology emails.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it happens. The thing is, you have to start baby steps, whatever you're comfortable with. And there are so many people out there who are in that boat who want to be teaching online and are really nervous about it, hesitant, fearful of it. They want to get their message across. They want to teach and help others. So you, with this new course, can help them. And if you haven't delivered a course online, whether it's recorded video or live, then this is a great opportunity to go through and practice the skills. Now, when I say practice the skills, you do need to, whether you're teaching this course or learning from it yourself, you do need to involve practice in it. So that's going to be a key element that you need to build in. And there are lots of ways to do that. Perhaps I'll go through the materials first, I think, when we talk about where you can build in that kind of practice. And remember, people, put your tools in, your favorite tools, in the comments for people that are just joining us, because we want to gather the favorite tools for teaching online. So Ari had asked about Camtasia. To me, that is one of the tools because it's for editing video. You can also use it for doing screen share or screen share with your little image in it. In fact, on one of our recent courses, I think I did that. Oh, no, maybe I used Snagit. Snagit and Camtasia kind of go together. Snagit's like the quick capture, does screen capture for images and scrolling images, but you can also do quick screen share videos where you can switch back and forth. And this is what I love about Snagit. Switch back and forth between webcam and screen. So I'll do the webcam, right, and do a little introduction. And then I just click a button to switch the webcam off and switch over to the screen, talk through, and then click the button to switch back again. So you can get an almost perfect video. And if you start to think, oh, wait, what was next? You can pause it. So I've done, now that I'm comfortable doing that, I can go through and do an almost perfect video. I think I did very little editing in Camtasia. I probably could have gotten away with not doing any editing in it as well. So that I consider an important tool, because when you do online courses, as I mentioned earlier, you want to have a mix of video and live. The video is for elements that people can learn on their own. You don't want to be spending time in a live session just talking and having no interaction. People don't need to be listening live to have you do that. You'll save a lot more time in your live session if you let people do their kind of pre-work and studying on their own, and then you come back and you ask questions. Maybe you present, maybe that's the time you present some stories, but things where you want to engage people and to get that interaction, asking questions, answering questions, stuff like that. So having that mix of the two is the ideal. And then the other part is any kind of text-based content, and that you create with your course. And in this one, the new one on how to teach an online course, we do not go into how to create all the elements, like how to design your online course and your learning objectives and your theme and what materials you should do. That's all in our other program on how to create an online course, which does have a little bit on how to actually run it as well and deliver it, but it's mainly around the creating. Whereas this one is around actually teaching it. So part of it in the beginning does go through, making sure you have all the right elements. In fact, I'll show you the roadmap for that in a second. I just want to say, okay, we've got, hi, Sharon Mary McFarland, got your invite. Happy to be here. Great. Nice to see you, Mary. And pop in where you're from as well. And if you have any favorite tools for teaching online. Desi Ann said, I don't have a favorite, but I'd love to hear what's recommended. Okay, we will talk about that as well. Mary said, I use Screencast-O-Matic. Yep, I've heard a lot of great stuff about that. A lot of people love doing that. Is that free? Is that a free one? Pop it and let us know, because I have a feeling it's free. Snagit and Camtasia are paid. Jing is the free version for TechSmith, but it's limited to like, I don't know, 2 minutes or something, so I don't use it. Did I miss anything else? Nope, I think we're doing well. All right, anything else before I switch over and dive in?
No, I would add, because you know me, I have to add everything. Where possible, get trials, and the best product for you tool-wise is the one that you use. And I used to use Jing and I loved it. I used Jing for everything. And then they kept on sending around saying, well, we're deprecating it, we're not updating it anymore. And I bought Snagit. And when I was comparing the two, Snagit and Jing, I was sitting there thinking, oh, this is so hard about Snagit. Oh, this is hard. This is so complicated. Jing is so easy. Then I got Snagit and I'm like, what took me so long? This is so much better, because I just loved being able to drag the thing across. And yeah, I could do that with Jing, but like most women over 40, I've actually got a tremor and I shake a bit, and it's hard for me to get precise at times. So when I wasted hours and hours, I'll say hours and hours, a lot of time with Jing, I didn't have the time waste with Snagit. And initially, when I was comparing the two, to me, Snagit was unusable. But then having practiced with Jing, I could use Snagit. So don't sit there and think to yourself, oh, I've got to have this because everybody's got this and everyone's talking about this. Have what works for you. Yeah. And Snagit works really well for me. Yeah. I'm sure there are other tools out there, free and paid, that are equally good, if not better. It just works really well for me. And you need to find what works for you, because if you don't find what works for you, you won't use it.
Yep, that's true. And that's great. I mean, I love that. Mary asks, is there a live tool you can use that will not show how many participants are in your course? With only having a few attending. I totally understand that. So I'm trying to think. Demio that I use for webinars, I can't remember whether it shows how many are participating or not. I'll have to take a look. I think it does not show, but I can find out and show you. So that's what I use for live. That's a webinar platform. Now those are paid. Zoom also has a webinar platform where you pay extra for it, but I'm not sure. So we'll find out. If anybody else knows any that are live teaching platforms that do not show how many are attending, then please do let us know. With things like this live stream, this would only be for, say, a paid course if I did it only inside a closed group. But I think even on this, it shows how many people are viewing. And I just say, hey, a lot of people show up later or watch the replay. So it's live and recorded, and I can download the recording. So we'll find out for you, okay, Mary? And if anybody else, again, knows of one that doesn't show, I'll check into Demio. Do you know, Sarah?
No, but I was going to say from experience, last year I did a program in beginning of May, and it was live for 8 weeks, and it was called Content into Cash. And each week we would do a specific piece of content and show the people how it brings in the money. I had 180 people on that program. I was so excited. Normally I get between 30 and 40 people when I deliver it live. So I was like, oh my gosh, 5 times as many. This is going to be so amazing. The energy, the vibe. Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. Do you know how many people joined the Facebook group for the training? 40.
40, yeah.
180 people bought the program.
Yeah.
40 joined the group for it.
Usually it's 30% or so. Yeah.
Turned up on the live? 8.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, 180 people and only 8 can turn up live. Only 8. I still get emails to this day with people who bought it a year ago and are only just logging in and looking at it. So, oh, this is really good. I'm like, where were you last May? And so please don't be concerned about only having a few attending, because even when you have a big number, like I thought I had with 180, only 8 actually showed up live and only 30, almost 40 joined the group.
And there are a couple other issues potentially there. One, you may not have been charging enough.
Yeah.
Right. So that they didn't make it worthwhile. And the other is the time of day.
Yeah.
As well. And the other thing is how many reminders you send. So how many emails. So I get the most attendance when I email, obviously, like a week before, and then again a couple days before, and then again the day before, the morning of, and even 15 minutes before. So reminder, we're going live. And some of the platforms like Demio has it already set up that way to do reminders. So once someone's registered, they're going to get those reminders. And I always get more people showing up on a Demio webinar. And even with that, so they have reminders for people that register, but I'll send emails to remind people to register. So you can tag people in your email. I use ActiveCampaign. Tag them when they've registered that they've registered. Then I have emails set up to only send to people who have not registered to remind them again. So the more you can remind, the more people you're going to have showing up to your training. Even though they've paid, even if they've paid a lot, they're not going to show up unless you remind them to. And then the other thing we'll do, because some people just can't show up at that time with a live training. Even, if you have people in various places, we've got people in Australia and New Zealand and South Africa and the UK and Israel and the West Coast and the East Coast. So we just say, look, we'll try and do a couple different times. And then we send out a form and say, if you have a question that you want us to answer live, send it in. We'll make sure we answer it live on the call. And that way, when you go watch the replay, you'll hear the answer to your question. So that's another thing to do as well. All right. But again, the live tool, we'll find out. Anyone who knows one where it doesn't show how many participants. Barb, also said Screencast-Matic is freemium. Right, 15 minutes free. And Snagit and Barb said fascinating numbers. Thanks for sharing that insight. Okay, so what do you say? We're well in here, 25 minutes in, and I haven't shown you anything.
Lucky the dog's downstairs.
With
Should
the
be
new course
at us right now.
Gail's here from Seattle. You don't use Demio, but you attend a regular webinar with a user and you can't see the number attending anywhere. I didn't think so, but I just wanted to check. But we'll confirm. I'm pretty sure Demio lets you. And reminder worked for me. I was working my laptop when the reminder popped up. Excellent. I'm glad it worked. Woohoo. All right. Shall we switch to the screen? And I'm going to switch. I'm going to turn. I'm not going to leave our faces up here because I'm looking at my other screen and you don't want to see me looking over there. Okay. But I might, Sarah, be aware because I might switch back on.
Okay.
So don't leave the room.
No, don't eat a currant bun.
That too. Here, I'll turn this banner off so that it's not interfering with us. All right, so this is just the sales page. This is the course that I'm talking about, which is how to teach an online course. And it's the new one. I'll dive into the folders and materials, but I just wanted to show you this first because it does give a little bit of an overview, why to share and sell it, why people want to do these virtual online trainings. I think you guys probably already know this, but it's the teaching from anywhere, allowing students to learn at their own pace. You can't read this, so there's no point in my doing too much here. Zoom a little. Whoops, that didn't work. Sorry, it's I'm zooming in on the wrong screen. Now can you see it better?
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay. So again, that's the sales page. And let me open up this roadmap thing. So this is going to be, I think I have it open. This is the roadmap for the course, what we call your success roadmap, and what you will learn or guide people through on learning how to teach online. So the first module is around establishing that online teaching mindset for success, because a lot of people are already very fearful or nervous or hesitant, or they're used to teaching face-to-face, and teaching online is a little bit different. They need to focus on student needs, things like that. Then the next step is to actually make sure you know your audience's needs and goals before you dive into teaching. So get to know them beforehand, and that way you'll have the information you need to customize the course, because every time you teach a course to a group, unless it's completely evergreen, there are going to be different people with different needs, no matter how narrow your target market is. And even if you have something set up as evergreen, you're going to want to periodically go back. But this is important when you're doing a live teaching to figure out, send out a customer survey, things like that, have the students set goals beforehand. Then you want to go in and customize your lesson plan. So you may not need to do any customization, but it's important to look and make sure it still matches up with your needs and the audience's goals, and also to make sure you have all the elements for a good online course. So I'll show you the materials that go with that. There's a nice checklist. Then you need to identify which elements of it should be video versus live. So you look at which ones make sense as recorded online course video, and what are the best practices, skills, etc. for doing that. Then there's which things and types of things you would do live online, and the skills and strategies and whatnot for that. And we have for the recording one, there's a checklist for recording your videos. On the live online one, there's an agenda template. And then there's how you're going to encourage engagement and accountability, because it's getting people to actually complete the course, stay accountable, do the learning activities, requires much more than just sending them through a course and a few webinars. So you want to have other sorts of support, holding people accountable. And then you want to get feedback and assess your own performance in teaching the course. So you want to get feedback from students and decide what you need to change, and then rinse and repeat the next time. So that is your success roadmap for teaching the course and for your students learning in the course. And that graphic is in the program, so it's something you can always refer back to. Now, the materials themselves, you'll see on the sales page, there's an overview of each one of the modules as well that I was just talking about. The mindset, goals, lessons plan, etc. So let me go into the materials now. Minimize that for you. And let's see. I want to go into, I think, the student materials first. How about the action guide section? Because this includes all the, yeah, this is a lot of stuff here. Preview pane. There. All right, let's see. What shall we look at first? How about the main action guide? You'll see here there's, actually you can't see too well here because it's small. It still can't see that well. So I'll just open up each one, okay? And then you can see, but they're in numbered order. There's an action guide, there's a skills assessment, student survey, delivery checklist, recording checklist, live agenda. So let me open each one so that you can see them in real time. All right, it's opening up on my other screen. So let's make it as big as possible here. Okay, and side by side. Okay, can you see that? You turned your microphone on. All right.
I can see it perfectly.
Okay, so this is the main action guide. It follows along with the course book. This is the way we do all our programs so that you always have something for people to complete and follow along with the learning activities, the action steps. And that's how the table of contents works. I talked through that roadmap already, which follows that. You always get people to set expectations at the beginning of the course, set them up before you get started and dive in. When you're teaching this yourself, you want to do some housekeeping and stuff when you're doing it live. Also, like what people can expect, where to find things, stuff like that.
Yeah, don't skip the housekeeping. I always thought it was chit chat and rubbish, but no, it just saves a lot of questions and helps people feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and gets them oriented and excited. So we've got, as I said, there's module 1 is establish an online teaching mindset. So they start by doing a self-assessment and then thinking about what this particular group would need. So the self-assessment is another. We have a lot more extras in here than we normally do. We try to usually put everything in the action guide, but we just kept adding and adding. So this is a quick assessment for people to just get a sense how they feel about their presentation skills and facilitation skills. Presentation skills is where you're just talking. This is a really rough generalization of the description, but presentation skills are when you're talking and conveying information and explaining stuff. Facilitation skills is when you're interacting and facilitating learning. So engaging, listening, asking questions, things like that to help people learn. So there are 2 different types of skills, and people do this little self-assessment and think about where they want to improve. So you're setting them up from the very start to get excited about the course and think about all the stuff they want to learn and do. So that's module 1. Then you go through knowing your audience's needs and goals. So different ways you can get to know your students before you start teaching. There's a survey you can send out. We give you a template for the survey. This is a starting point, remember. So I want to just make this point again. All of our materials are a starting point. They may work for you as is. That's possible, but remember, you can customize them. So when we give you something like a template, you want to go in and see what makes sense for your audience. Something like this pre-course survey that I was just talking about. So this thing, you're not going to want to use all the questions on here. You'll want to adjust it and add other ones. Obviously add your name and stuff like that. So just remember that as we go looking through things, that there's starting points that you adjust for your audience. Some things make sense, some don't. And that's why your course is going to be unique to everyone else's. And I mean, it may work as is. That's possible too. All right, so that's the survey. Then customize your lesson plan. So you want to look at your lesson plan each time when you're going to be teaching live in particular to see whether you need to adjust anything for that next group. And for this one, we're assuming again that for this program, people already have an online course. Otherwise, you need to take them through our other program on how to create an online course. This is for teaching it. So they have a course. They need to go through this checklist of whether they have of all the key elements for an online course. So I'll show you the checklist as well. The delivery checklist. And this is key components for delivering an online course. So there's making sure you have learning activities and assignments, different support materials, test quizzes, online community discussion board, and different things there, recorded video, slideshow, feedback materials, survey questions, all these different things that you would want in an online course. So people would go through as part of this module, see what they have and what they might need to add and customize for this audience. And then they answer the questions. What elements do you already have? If you've delivered it before, what worked, what didn't? What do you need to change for this audience? Do you need to create anything new? So you want to take them through that. And that's in module 3. Then in module 4, the record online course videos. Remember, we talked about it being, you want to have a mix of recorded video and live elements and then support elements. Here, you pick which sections need to have recorded video. Now, if they already have an online course, again, your students may already have videos, but there may be elements that they want to convert to video or create new or take out a video and change it to live. So this isn't a module just throw away if they already have video. This is where they need to look at it again and see what kind of formats or new stuff to do, because every time you teach a course, you'll find that there's something new. We did this with our 10-day online course challenge. First time we did it all live, and then we found we needed to do a little recorded training on this, a little recorded training on that, and something else needed a live that had been recorded. So it's important to look at this each time you teach an online course.
And what I'll say is, I'll add my little bit. When Sharon's talking about customizing, when we were talking about it, I was talking about the lesson plan. And I sent that over to Sharon and she went, what's this? What's this? What's this? And then about 3 seconds later, it clicked what it was. Oh, she says, we call those takeaways. We don't call them sticky things.
You call them sticking points.
Yeah, the things that stick in your mind. No, they're takeaways, right? Because I called it in the language that I use with my clients and my students. And Sharon looked at it and she went, what? That doesn't make any sense. And then she translated it into Content Sparks language. So
or American.
So even if you've got Content Sparks in front of you and it's brilliant materials, as we all know, you translate it into what works for your audience. And I don't use takeaways. I use sticky points or magnetic moments, depending if I'm in one of those moods. And you will find the language that flows naturally to your audience. If you're talking to a fitness audience, you might call it a high heart rate moment. And if you're talking to a martial arts audience, you might say, this is your on the mat moments. And you adapt it to fit your audience. So it doesn't have to be big takeaways, because when I see takeaways, I think of fast food and McDonald's. My mind's straight in the fast food shop. I'll have extra cheese on that burger, please. And you've got to adapt it to your audience and the language of your audience. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, this looks absolutely great, I'll deliver it to my audience, and it don't quite click with them, go and tweak the language so that it fits them. So if you're doing this for fitness personnel, use some fitness metaphors and some fitness language in there. And if you're doing it for martial arts clubs, throw that in. And if you're doing it for people who work on trade shows, use some of the language that they like, and then you'll find that it really starts to resonate with your audience. It really starts to connect with them.
Yeah, and if you're delivering it to different audiences each time, you can, if you're doing a combination of recorded video and live, the recorded video, you can try and keep it relatively generic, like we do, only we have takeaways. But you can keep that generic, and then when you do your live sessions, each time build in the language and examples for that audience. That's why it's really good also to have that mix of the live and recorded, because the recorded is the support of the knowledge stuff that people just need to get, where they don't need you just talking at them for an hour. But kind of like we're doing.
Yeah, let's get back into the stuff. It's really good stuff.
It is great stuff. Okay, so this was the thing on recorded video. They look at what else they need to record, decide on video format tools, and then actually outline. You can have them spend the time outlining it. Some of these activities, as I said, that's why recorded and self-study stuff works well with live, is they need to do this on their own time. They're not going to outline a video during a live session unless you were in a whole full day classroom environment. And that's not an online course. But you could combine eventually face-to-face with the online as well. That's really ideal if you can do all of that. What else do we have in this one? So there's also the online video recording checklist. So that is this one. We'll open this one. And this one is preparing for the recording, the different things you should do. This is particularly around doing a screen share recording. So using a webcam and microphone, because doing it with a phone is going to be different for everyone. Selecting section, recording, preparing, post-recording. There's some ideas from some different video editing software. Some of these are free. Some editing. You can outsource the editing pretty cheaply on places like Fiverr and Upwork. And then you need to actually upload it somewhere. I got asked this. It's interesting. This is a case of don't assume that people know things. I have a video I did on how to use Zoom to record online course videos for free, because you can use the free version when you record something on Zoom. And I think it goes up to 40 minutes more. I think it's only a 40-minute limit, 45-minute limit if you have several participants. But you can do it with no participants, record your video, and then save that and edit it. So this video has gotten tons of views. I think I have over 100,000 views on this now. Wow. Because of and mostly in the last couple months. I did it back in November. I get questions on there, comments saying, okay, how do I share my Zoom video? How can people then watch my Zoom video link? Do I just send it to them? And I realized that I was assuming they knew to just upload it to YouTube or somewhere else where people can view it. But people didn't get that. So when you're working with people, and these are all people who want to teach online courses, so that's why they were watching the video. So when you teach this, be careful not to assume that people know stuff about things like the video recording and that you have to upload it somewhere for somebody to be able to see it. You never want us to send someone the MP4 file. All right. Yeah, so that was an assumption. And little videos like that, you can see how popular this topic is, teaching online right now. Mm-hmm. So there's some tips, best practices around recording, like speaking slowly, make sure everything's working before recording. That sounds so basic, and yet it's so important and something you miss out, especially when you're in a rush and you just want to get it recorded. Choosing online platforms. So that's a really helpful list. And actually that little recording list would make a good lead magnet too. So whenever you're looking at the materials in any of our courses, the bulk of it is meant to be for either a paid course or for something that you're teaching to your own followers and customers, people who are on your email list or who are already customers or in some closed community. But you want to attract people in there in the first place. And some of these little elements like that checklist can make good lead magnets that give people a peek inside the course. Then you know they're interested in recording course videos, and that means they want to learn more about teaching online. So they'll be interested in the course. So another aside, let's go back. And let's see, where are we? Then we get into the teaching live online course sessions. So the first thing you want to address is people's fears about it and overcoming those. So there's some stuff in the course book as well around that. And then go through which things you need to teach live, some different platforms. There are some examples of different platforms in the course book that you can pick from, and comparing them. You want to compare to see what features you want, polls, microphone and camera access, breakout groups. Every platform has a little something different, and some are free and some are expensive. So people need to pick that. Desi-Ann said, gotta run. Okay, great. Thanks so much for coming live, Desi-Ann. I'll keep moving through here, but if you have any questions afterwards, do make sure you drop them in the comments or just email us, because you can always email us at support@contentsparks.com if you have questions, and we will be there to answer them. So have a great day. Back to here. All right. And that was the other feed, the handout I want to show you on this is the live online course session. So with both the recorded video checklist and with the live agenda checklist that I'm just showing you now, you want to have people practice this stuff. So this is an example of an agenda that people can copy and use over and over for every time they need to teach live. Outline what's the course, what's this module and session, because you might have more than one live for each session. What was the previous one? So this is your overview before you start teaching live. So you know what's the objective, what did people do before, action steps, what materials do you need for this session. So that's your overview. And then there's an agenda where you can estimate how long you want to spend on each, fill in your notes, recapping previous ones. I know you can't read this specifically, but I just wanted to give you a sense of it. You might want to have a Q&A from the previous live session. So this is a really handy tool for planning out each live session. And then when you're actually teaching live, what I do is I put it on an iPad in front of me, a tablet, or I have it in Evernote on a separate monitor. But lately I've really preferred having an iPad right propped in front of my monitor. Could be a notebook. You don't have to have an iPad or a tablet. Some people have a laptop separately and a desktop monitor where they have it on the side where they can look, where you can glance down. And that way you can keep yourself on track when you're teaching live and make sure you've covered all your points, make sure you ask questions at different points. So having that live agenda is really helpful. And that's the agenda. Then we have module 6 is about encouragement and accountability. So we want to have what learning activities you're including, what kind of challenges you anticipate when completing them, and that way you know how you can address them and what extra support you can implement. So you want to think here, when you're getting to the point of accountability and support, think about what you can add that's extra. So it could be email support. It can be live Q&A sessions. It can be a closed community that's just for your students where people can post questions. You can be doing live streams weekly in that community where you can answer questions. You can help people or suggest people have accountability partners where they set up, maybe you have a section in your online group or your community where you can encourage people to join with someone else as an accountability. There's someone else I know who does some sort of laser coaching, and he offers unlimited email support but he found that people only use it a certain number of times. So while it sounds like it would be a ton of your time and out of your day, he found from his experience that it isn't, that it only certain people use it and they only use it a certain number of times. And with his laser coaching, where he adds on the coaching, he doesn't let people have a new coaching session until they've done the activities from the previous one. So that helps keep people accountable because they want to go back and have that next live session. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's another way, like, yeah, I'm here for you, but first you need to do this, and then we'll talk again. So that's another thing on accountability. One-to-one calls. Let me see what else was in this. This is all the action guide. All right. This is not the main course book, and you can already see there's quite a lot in here. The gather feedback is where you want to get student feedback so you know what to change. Self-review. How are you going to assess yourself as well? So you want to be figuring that out, what kind of issues you need to address. So once you have delivered the course, what do you need to address? How you're going to handle it? Here you can already plan what kind of issues and how you're going to address it. And then at the end of every course, we always have a conclusion and next steps. So wrap up, what did you learn? What difficulties? People assessing themselves. So at the end of any course, when you are wrapping up, you want to get people into that mindset of first, oh, look at all this stuff I learned, how far I've come, so they realize how much they've achieved and what they're going to do leaving the course. What are their next steps, their action steps, so that they're motivated and energized and ready to get moving forward and implementing more of what they learned. So we have that at the end of every course as well. I think that is everything in there. That was everything in that action guide folder. So I didn't give the main overview, but there are student materials, which is the course book, action guide, that cheat sheet, which we all love. And that's just an overview of the whole course. So you can see that roadmap was in there, and there's learning objectives at the beginning of each and all the highlights. So this is a great way when you get the course to get an overview of everything, and action steps at the end of what they need to do. So that's that cheat sheet. And there are a few other bits and pieces. I'm not going to go through the course book, Sarah, because it's just too long and we've already kind of almost exceeded our time. I do want to just show the slideshow to make sure people see that you also have that. And this is what you can use for teaching. Hang on, it's just loading up. And let's see if I can get this over here. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you saw that you do get the slideshow. It's ready to customize to your whatever brand, slides, design, fonts. Now in these, I just want to point out that we do leave a slide for questions. So if you're delivering it live, you'd want to break this up because there's 164 slides. So you're going to teach this in sections, but add your branding and all your customizations first, and then break it up. So you only have to do it in one file. But we do put that in there, and we do have a slide for the learning activities and a debrief slide. So if you're doing an activity where it is live and people go and do something while you're on, so say you pause it for a bit and say, okay, everybody take 5 minutes to do this action step. And you maybe leave it running or have some background music, and then give people a warning. Okay, it's time to come back. Let's talk about what you just did. Then you want to have that debrief slide. That's what that's for. Now, a lot of the activities won't be conducive to doing them live. The presentation, the self-assessment they can do live, that kind of thing. You can have people, again, just pause. It's really quick. They can do it while they're on your Zoom or your Demio or whatever, and then come back and discuss it. And other ones, though, let me see if I can find one. Something like the student survey, that they're going to have to do on their own and go off and do that. And then you can talk about it in the next live session. But you can discuss what other methods you can use to get get to know your student group. So that's something that can be a discussion live. So that's all I wanted to point out on that. And again, we have it all customized for you, and you can just change your colors and your fonts on there. But it is pretty much ready to teach. Otherwise, add your logo. Okay. Do you have any other questions about that before I jump into what I know you want to talk about? Sarah's not saying anything because
I'm being quiet. I want to get to the exciting stuff, the expansion pack and all the goodies in there.
Okay. I'm going to whip through the rest of those. You'll ask questions because I was going to keep this to an hour. We're already at 55 minutes. Again,
stop. Get straight into it. We're running out of time.
Remind people, add your favorite tools in here. I haven't seen a lot of favorite tools here, but please, otherwise you're just going to hear mine. And we'll ask in the group. And any questions too, pop it in. And again, the URL when you're ready to get the course is contentsparks.com/teach online course. Right there. It's my big hands showing. Let's go back again. All right. You want to see the expansion pack. So those were the main things. There's also some tips in a Twitter friendly, social media post friendly setup. But the other thing you'll see is, let's see, there's an early bird bonus. Okay, so the early bird bonus is just for people who grab that course before Thursday, May 21st. And that is 10 tips for engagement and engaging learning. To encourage active learning. So that's a nice little extra document, which makes a good handout or a lead magnet. And then 20 questions to generate discussion, which is also a great add-on. So that's an early bird bonus. If you're watching this after Thursday, May 21st, you don't get that and you have to get it in the expansion pack. All right, which is an extra pack. It is not included in the main course. This is something extra that includes tools, emails, blog posts, and some Canva templates. So because you can't really see this on here, what would you like me to open up? I talked about the 10 tips and the 20 questions. Right now, you can get those as an early bird bonus before Thursday, next Thursday.
Can we take a look at the emails, Sharon?
Okay.
And are they selling emails or nurturing emails?
They come in doc and TXT, and I will give you, I'll put this into the preview pane. Let's see if you can see it that way. Yeah. It's still hard to see, isn't it?
Mm.
It won't let me show you more unless I open it. So these are, we've got different topics, foster meaningful discussions, and this is going to answer your questions, defining your goal, adding video to boost engagement. So these are all general tips around teaching online, overcoming your fear that could be used pretty much anywhere, right? So we're giving you emails and blog posts in the expansion pack only, which is really cheap. And you can use the emails for nurturing leads. So say somebody downloads your lead magnet, say you use the 20 questions to generate discussion, or you use the recording checklist from the course as a lead magnet. Then you want to follow up with some other emails, and you can use these to nurture people and just add your own call to action in there. Add your intro, add your call to action, add your autoresponder tags. And then at the end of your series, you can then point them to the course, or even in each email, you can say, hey, if you want to learn more about teaching online, I have this full course where I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to walk you through the elements for recording videos, where to record videos in your course versus doing live, etc. You can use some of the verbiage in the contents list and the cheat sheet to get ideas of how to do those calls to action. But you have to think about what the benefit is, what your leads want, what your audience wants. So again, the emails can be used for nurturing, or you can use them for follow-up after people have completed your course, because you want to keep in touch with them. It can help with accountability to remind them of what they need to do. So remind them about setting goals, and you can add in references to points in the course. So for instance, let me find one example in here. So for instance, this one, best practices for planning online teaching sessions. You could introduce yourself in this email after someone's taken a course and say, hey, in module, whatever it was, 6 or 5 or whatnot, we talked about online teaching and how it's important to plan and setting goals and all of that. And here's some more essential best practices that you need to follow, some reminders for you, and use that as one of your course follow-up emails. So look at each one and see how it fits in, because that also sends people back to that lesson and gets them back engaged with your course if you have it online and you have it as a recorded thing. Or here's another idea. For something like that, with these emails, it could be before the next live session. So say you ended one and the next session's about that topic in the email. You can say, here's some best practices, and we're going to talk about that in our next session. Here's the link to go register. So
yep,
it's another way to
use it. That's a really nice way of blending them together.
Yep. And there, I also said there's blog posts, and blog posts you could also use in a variety of ways. So there's different topics in here, active listening, benefits. So obviously you can use them as blog posts and tailor them and rewrite anything you want to rewrite and add to it, make infographics or whatever to make it unique. Mm-hmm. But you could use these, some people use these as starters for live streams as well. And some people use them as basis for emails too, or some people even combine them into mini reports as another lead magnet.
Yes, so, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could live stream once a week to your student group and talk about these different topics from the blog posts. So be creative, right?
Ari has a question. What are your favorite sources for graphic elements used on your slide?
Okay, so we use, for us, we use PowerPoint. So we just use Smart Art for our graphics because it's very quick and easy to create. Are you familiar with the PowerPoint Smart Art, Ari? Let me know, because I can show you how that works if you want. All right. Otherwise, for graphics, what else do we use? We do prefer using that. Sometimes we'll use an image. So if I want to spice up an image, spice up a slide that just has one line of text, I'll use an image. Typically, I like Unsplash because it's free commercial use. You can use any of their stuff anywhere. We also have a lot of credits with Deposit Photos. So if I can't find something on Unsplash, I'll use some of our credits at Deposit Photos for royalty free. I've done screenshots as well, wherever there's something that's conducive to screenshot. So if you're talking about a tool like Zoom, you can do a screenshot of the dashboard in Zoom and just blur out your own meeting ID so that people don't have that kind of thing. So that's always really useful too. For doing graphics, but I do love the Smart Art. And if you're not familiar with that, I think I also have a tutorial on our blog on how to use Smart Art. All right. Do you have a favorite? Oh, Canva. How could I forget Canva? Mm-hmm. I love Canva. Sarah loves Canva too.
Canva.
How could I forget?
I use Deposit Photos, and I choose an element. I choose a main slide. So can I share screens?
You should be able to.
I will just share.
I'll take this off a second.
So
I think I have to add it here.
able to see my screen, and I'm just going up to the top so you can
I'll
see.
make it big, maybe.
I searched for teaching, and these are the images that I come up with for teaching. And I quite like this one here that I'm just going to make big on the screen, or at least attempt to. No, it won't.
Yeah, expand it with the little arrows.
It's not expanding. I think it's
Oh.
because I'm sharing.
It probably wants to open up a new tab, and that's why
Yeah.
you're not sharing that.
But
Anyway, we can see it well enough.
Yeah, the way the woman was standing out of the computer, and I thought, oh, that looks quite like online learning. You know, I can open this up in Snagit and use the color fill button to change these greens and this purple and the yellow to my brand colors, and to change her shirt to my brand colors, so then it looks personalized to my training. I really liked that one. And then I really liked, I can't open that one either, this one here with all of the bits. I use those little dotted lines in my content roadmaps. So I thought, I could change out the text here where it says lesson 1 to module 1, and I would put that image on the title slide. So where it says module 1, module 2, I would have this image on those slides. And as I'm looking through this, I'm seeing there's lots of other different images that you can use. There's this one as well, and this one.
Wow.
And there's quite a lot. But the next thing I would do is I would do a little search, and I would do a search for teaching icons. And with the icons like this, I would get them. I can't pop them and make them big again. And recolor them to my brand, and then pop one of these on the slides, so that all of the colors of the icons fit my branding, but they fit the overall theme, which is teaching, on the slides. In one, I'm trying to think what one it was. I'll see if I can find it in my shopping cart. Don't think I had little stick men teaching other little stick men, and they were so cute. I went and I can't find it. I need to find the ones that I've downloaded. I thought they were so cute. I went and redone all of the imagery on one particular program, just because these little stick men teaching other stick men. There they are.
Cute.
They just look so cute there. And there's one of them in front of a whiteboard with a piece of chalk, and they're all sitting there looking at him. And then there's ones like this. So when I've got the questions one, I chop all of the other ones out, and it's just the one with a magnifying glass. So that's where I get my images from, and that's what I specifically look for. I look for a big one to go on the title slide, and then icons to go throughout it. But every now and again you see something like those little stick people, and they're so cute. And that was it. All of the ones that I'd chosen before that were all just ripped out of the slides, a little stick man put in. So do be prepared for it to change. Gal's just saying,
yeah, I was just looking at that too.
Yeah.
And some of those graphics I was saying, you might even be able to get in Canva, because Canva, you can get, it's free, and there's some limits on the images and graphics they have in the free version. The pro version, though, is not that expensive. I don't remember what I'm paying now, but they have a lot more that you could do. So you can create stuff in there. They have icons, not as much at all as Deposit Photos, but the next time AppSumo does a Deposit Photos deal, we will make sure that we share it. And actually, we got a deal on Deposit Photos through Groupon.
Wow.
Evan found it, and he got more. Yeah. So that I hadn't even thought, and he found that. Gail said Snagit's great. There's a nifty browser extension, which I have not tried, that captures tutorials for any web activities. So that would be different than just screen capture. I'm going to have to try that. And if you, as you're experimenting, please make sure you share any of your experience in the group too, the customer group or the community, because we'd really love to hear. And you said the browser extension is called IORAD, IORAD, which is a bizarre name for their browser extension. Sorry, but not very memorable. IORAD. Okay. I'm going to go back and see what else we might want to share in here, because we're going to wrap up soon. If there's anything specific anybody wants to see as I'm going through these materials, please do let me know. The expansion pack also has a nice list of tools. So there's a list of tools for web conferencing and meeting platforms, webinar platforms, social media, interactive training, videos, video screen recording software, video editing software, survey and polling platforms. So there's a nice big list of tools, and you can just customize that. Make sure you, if you share this with your students, make sure you put your affiliate links in, so that, you know, anytime that you share a link or a resource with your students, see if there's some sort of affiliate partnership you can set up with them. Because if you're recommending a resource because you know it, you might as well earn some commissions on it, right? It just makes sense. It doesn't cost your students anything extra, and it's extra income for you. But only recommend the ones that you actually recommend, right? Don't recommend something that you don't know at all. Or if you do, just say, okay, I've heard great stuff about this, but I haven't tried it myself yet. And even say, if you try it and you like it, please share. So that's a good thing to do too.
One of the things in my blogging community is I make an active point of asking for affiliate links. And
hi, Janet.
Hi, Janet. And then if it comes to something that I'm recommending, they always ask for my affiliate links. So you train your people to ask for the affiliate links.
Definitely. And bye, Ari. Oh, this is a hint. This is like a hint we should be wrapping up, right?
Yeah, we should be getting off, yeah.
Okay. So the only last thing I want to show in the expansion pack is the lesson planner, just because it's in Canva, but I'll show you. I think we have it as an image just so you can see. So this is a nice thing. This is a bonus in the expansion pack that you can tweak, put your own branding on in Canva, and give to people as an extra thing so they can plan out each lesson and customize each lesson. So I'm not going to go into that, I promise. The only other thing I want to show you is the bonus, the other bonus. Now, this other bonus is for people who get the course and the expansion pack. Okay, so before you decide you don't want the extra, please look at this because it's for both people. Evelyn, good to see you. Thank you. Instructional design, it works so well for me. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. If you have any feedback anytime, please, I would love to hear. You know, we're instructional designers. I'm an instructional designer for years too, so I always would love to hear feedback. Thanks for coming. And Barrington as well. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, please. I just want to show the Trello board. I have to show the Trello board. Oh, it's in a doc. It's supposed to be in a PDF. Oops. Is it not in a PDF? Yes, it is. Okay. So you get two folders. There's images from the Trello board. But here's the Trello board itself. It's in instructions. And again, this is for people who get the course and the expansion pack. All you do is open up. There's instructions in here for the Trello board, and then you click on it. Hopefully this will open up properly. I would have to log in, which I'm not going to do here, but you have to either log in or sign up for free to Trello and then make a copy of this board. And this board is basically the action guide for the course. And for each one, you've got learning objectives. For the course, you have the basics that are from the cheat sheet, really. There's got the action steps for each one. And you can use this, give this to people as their interactive action guide. Rather than having some PDF they fill in, they can just go through it here and take notes and add extra cards, and you could even repurpose this, use this layout for other courses. You can change the background, anything. You can change these images. These are in Canva, so we give you the link to that as well. This is a really nice extra, and it really boosts the value. People are seriously getting into Trello these days more than ever.
And it helps keep them on track. So they think, oh, where am I? And they go to their Trello board and they can see what they've ticked off and what they need to do. And not all learning portals and learning centres have that tracking ability. You have to sort of, hope that it records that you've done that video or that module. So by giving them a Trello board where they can track their own progress is a really powerful thing. It takes the pressure off of you and puts the learning back into the hands of the student, and it's a really good thing.
Yep. So love those, worth getting. The pricing's awesome right now. The early bird bonus is just through Thursday. And again, if you get the course in the expansion pack, you get that Trello board. Again, the URL is contentsparks.com/teach online course. Hopefully that's memorable enough. And again, please write any of your comments in here, tools that you love to use as well. And I'll follow up with some emails to people. If you're on my email list, you'll definitely see some reminders and stuff and blog posts and other things that I share. If you're not on my email list, well, why not? Make sure at least you're in the Facebook group. If you're a customer, please make sure you're in the Facebook group if you're watching this elsewhere. Thank you for anyone watching on YouTube, because we're also on YouTube Live. Gail said, love Trello. Great bonus. Yep, you're going to love that. Mary said, great presentation. Thank you. I'm so glad you appreciate it. I'm glad this was helpful. And we will be talking soon. All right. So last words again, teach how to teach your online course. Get it to help yourself and with your own teaching online. This is so popular right now. People are getting it for themselves and for helping others teach online. And again, if your audience does not have an online course already, we do have other materials for that, for creating an online course. And that's also on sale. So you'll see that on the site and in your cart. Okay. And that's all for now. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye now.